Honorable Speaker, every privilege symbolizes something. Now, when we see that in European Union, these people, the citizens of Europe countries, do not have to get any visa to travel between Europe, that symbolizes something, ladies and gentlemen. You know what that symbolizes? That symbolizes friendship, that symbolizes respect and honor, Honorable Speaker. You see, that when someone is traveling from his country to any other country, and that country says, no, you do not need a visa, we welcome you with open arms, that goes to show that we are in good terms with your country, and that goes to show the friendship between these countries, ladies and gentlemen. And that is what we believe, that all these countries should eventually uphold the no visa policy to a certain extent, ladies and gentlemen, even if not full. And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, today we come up and today we tell you that these people, these old people, people over the age of 60 should deserve a no visa policy, ladies and gentlemen. But we are going to show you, team government today is going to show you why these people are, why are we advocating for people who are over 60. Now we are also going to show you, ladies and gentlemen, that how these people deserve it, Honorable Speaker, and how these people have deserved it, and basically it's the role of the government also to provide them with the no visa policy. Now, moving on to the definition, ladies and gentlemen. By citizens, it is clear that what we mean by citizens, ladies and gentlemen. So, for example, if I am a citizen of Bangladesh because I live in Bangladesh, ladies and gentlemen. That's pretty clear. Over 60 is basically people who are over the age of 60 should not require a visa. A visa is basically, ladies and gentlemen, an approval given by a country to a certain citizen that you are welcome, you have the right to enter my country. Now, what we need to understand, we are going to give visa to those people over 60 who do not have any criminal records, ladies and gentlemen. Now, by criminal records, ladies and gentlemen, we will not be considering petty crimes like parking tickets, ladies and gentlemen. Leaving those petty crimes, if someone proves that he or she has lived his life as a proper citizen of a country and has upholded the concept of being a good citizen, ladies and gentlemen, upholded the concept of being a good citizen and has lived his life throughout by following the rules and regulations of a country, we believe that it is eventually a right of a person to get a no visa, ladies and gentlemen. But we're going to establish that by two key arguments. Number one, I'm going to show you, Honorable Speaker, that how it is eventually the responsibility of a government, Honorable Speaker, of a country to honor these people over 60, honor the good citizens, ladies and gentlemen. I'm also going to show you that how, at the end of the day, these old people, whether or not it is a responsibility of the government, these people deserve it, Honorable Speaker. Shams will come up and Shams will show you, ladies and gentlemen, and Shams will show you is basically what problems that these people go through if you do not give a no visa, and you make these people go to the embassies and go and apply for a visa. And it's also going to show you that how it actually disrespects the old people and these good citizens, ladies and gentlemen. Moving on, Honorable Speaker, to my arguments. Now, number one, Honorable Speaker, we need to understand what a visa symbolizes, Honorable Speaker. A visa is basically an entrance card, Honorable Speaker, an admit card. But what you need to understand, that when someone has an admit card, he can eventually, admit card of a country, he can go through the country, right? So basically, we see that when these people, all throughout these years, when they had to go to a certain country, Honorable Speaker, they went for visa, Honorable Speaker. They went for visa, they took the visa, and they went in, ladies and gentlemen. All throughout these years, we see that when these people have did their work did the work to get the visa, ladies and gentlemen. What we need to understand, Honorable Speaker, at the end of the day, that when they grow old, Honorable Speaker, they face certain kinds of problems. They cannot go to the embassy and stand in line for a visa, ladies and gentlemen. They eventually cannot go there. They eventually might have a problem to even pay for the visa, Honorable Speaker. But we need to understand that these are the basic problems that old people go through, Honorable Speaker. But we need to understand what these countries should do, Honorable Speaker. We need to understand that they should extend the hand of friendship and respect to these old people, ladies and gentlemen. We basically tell you that when these countries should welcome you with open arms. I've already shown you the example of European Union, ladies and gentlemen, that how it requires no visa between the European countries, Honorable Speaker. It is basically the similar case for old people as well, Honorable Speaker. That these visa symbolizes respect, ladies and gentlemen. We need to understand what is the concept of good citizens, honorable speaker. We need to understand stages of life, honorable speaker. Someone, for us human beings, we use the national resources of a country, honorable speaker, to educate ourselves and to educate ourselves and gain knowledge for our further lives, ladies and gentlemen. After some one point of time, we have to work for our own country, ladies and gentlemen, and have to behave well, ladies and gentlemen. We need to prove that we are proper citizens, honorable speaker. We need to prove that we are proper citizens, ladies and gentlemen. We do that for at least 30 to 40 years, honorable speaker. And after 30 to 40 years, when we've established the point that we are good citizens at the end of the day, and we are good citizens at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, that is the moment when the government decides that as he has acted as a good citizen, we need to give him some certain privileges, ladies and gentlemen. That is after when he retires, ladies and gentlemen. That is when the government comes up with insurance policies, honorable speaker. Now, what you need to understand, honorable speaker, that these are certain privileges these old people get. So we believe that, ladies and gentlemen, these old people, when they grow old, honorable speaker, they should not sit in one place only, honorable speaker. So we believe that when we give them another privilege of having a no visa, and when they can go to other countries without any visa, honorable speaker, we believe that is when we can ladies and gentlemen, we are honoring them, honorable speaker. Because you have been such a good citizen, we are giving you the right to go to other countries. And for those other countries who are giving the permission to let these people in, ladies and gentlemen, they are basically showing a certain amount of respect to these people, ladies and gentlemen, that we are allowing you without any visa just because you have been a good citizen in your own country. What this does, ladies and gentlemen, this basically shows that how these countries are upholding the concept of being a good citizen, ladies, and how they are upholding the concept of being a proper citizen at the end of the day. When these countries appreciate good behavior, honorable speaker, good behavior of these old citizens, that how they have been so good throughout their whole lives, all these countries uphold the concept together, ladies and gentlemen, and how this, when all these countries do it together, globally they create an effect which eventually ladies and gentlemen, which nudges all the other persons to behave properly as well, honorable speaker. So we see that how at the end of the day, to sum up, ladies and gentlemen, how being a good citizen will eventually give you certain privileges, ladies and gentlemen. If not only in your country, we believe you need to be given privileges internationally, ladies and gentlemen. That is when how you can also uphold the concept of being proper citizens, and you can also touch a chord in those people's lives who are in the wrong path, ladies and gentlemen, and who are not living a proper life, ladies and gentlemen. That is what Team Government today proposes, on speaker. That is why we should not have. That is why we believe that people over 60 should not require a visa. Thank you.
Yeah. The first speaker from the opposition come up and oppose this case.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Honorable Speaker, today the motion that has been passed from this side of the House is that this House believes that citizens above 60 should not require a visa, and I am proud to oppose it and say that. Why? Because, Honorable Speaker, before moving on to my constructives, I'd rather deal with the stands that have been brought up by this side of the House. What this side of the House actually did is that they came up and they did not quite identify what the big problem of the status quo is. Why should we actually go for believing that citizens above 60 should not require a visa? The main stand throughout the entire debate, throughout the entire speech, was the fact that number A, they deserve respect, and B, that is going to facilitate and that is going to create a good relationship between states. And Honorable Speaker, what states? You have explained European Union, that's the Eurozone. That is a completely definite process. It's between the countries of Europe, right? And what is this about? This is between the countries of the whole world. Do you expect the two countries not in friendly relations to get something like that? Or how are you going to judge that? You did not clarify that, right? You did not clarify on the basis of what countries are you going to justify that this bill is actually feasible and this bill is actually going to work well. In which countries are you going to maintain good relationship, Honorable Speaker? Giving the example of European Union was a completely flawed one, right? And then again, the stance that have been brought up by this side of the House was A, respect. Just because you're old doesn't mean you deserve that you're good. But Honorable Speaker, what they don't know is that they're proposing the status to itself. They are saying that they're going to be going through a process of their ensuring that these people are good. But that is what the visa is about, right? I mean, the visa is a form of permission that you give to these people at the end of the day. This permission, how is this permission given? By these process that you just mentioned. And, Honorable Speaker, what they are saying is that they are going to go through this process, but at the end of the day, the name visa won't be there. This is what they say. Honorable Speaker, what they're doing is they're undermining the value of the visa. I'll take that picture, sit down. Okay, firstly, Honorable Speaker, what is a visa? A visa is a symbol of simply permission. Permission by what? By the visiting state to that person, whether he can come to this country or not. It is simply on the choice of that state. He is not liable to that person who is coming to this country for anything, Honorable Speaker, just because of good relationship. This is a completely biased bill, because this bill does not really ensure good relationship at the end of the day, because it's not a huge symbol of maintaining good relationship. You can maintain good relationship through a lot of other ways, but just giving visa on the basis of a process which is already there. So you're giving visa on the process which is already there, and that is how you're ensuring good relationship, which is flawed, sir, because this is how I move on to determine the aim. Today the aim of this side basically is to show respect to these people, right? To show respect to people above 60. Only to those people above 60. Why? Because they're old, they have gone through their lives, proving to the state that they're a good citizen. Now, how do you actually ensure that they're good citizens? That comes through our constructives, right? Firstly, we're going to show you how this is actually, this bill is sort of an injustice on the part of those countries, visiting countries, and also on the part of the other good citizens according to them as well, right? This is our first constructive. Second constructive, Honorable Speaker, is the arbitrariness of the age 60, Honorable Speaker, that these people have chosen. Third constructive is the constructive of feasibility, and fourth constructive is the constructive of counter effects, Honorable Speaker, which is counter effect of the advantage for terrorists, which will be dealt with by my second speaker, right? And then again, Honorable Speaker, we're going to show you how this bill is completely not feasible. You see, moving on to my first constructive, which is showing that this bill is actually injustice. Honorable Speaker, has another huge constructive as well, which is the undermining the value of the visa, right? Firstly, Honorable Speaker, moving on to my first constructive, which is the undermining the value of the visa. These people have completely, I think that's right here. These people have gone on and on about visa being a form of relationship between two people, right? The visa, they have not considered it from the perspective of the visiting countries, right? They have not considered it to be something like that. These people, I don't want you, for God's sake, I don't care if you're above 60. I don't want you to be there in my country. And who are you to say that I should? And who are you to say that I won't give you a visa? I would give you a visa, right? Because I don't care if you're a good citizen or a citizen. I simply don't want you in my country. Because, for example, the tragedy of the common, right? I'd rather go for other things as well. And for example, I cannot accommodate you in my country. Something like that. Or I cannot afford so many immigrants in my country. I don't want so many immigrants in my country, Honorable Speaker, which would be a backfiring case because this would increase the immigrants in the country, right? For example, this country does not want so many immigrants. What about that? The country's interests should be taken into account, but this side is not taken care of, right? The country's interest, which is actually undermining the value of the visa. The visa is there as symbol of permission. I'm not permitting you, why would you come, right? Secondly, moving on to our second constructive aspect.
That particular individual is going into other countries. What makes you think they're going there for permanent? Because as far as visa, this policy is concerned, it's a symbolism of goodwill and respect. It's not about the procedures you're talking about.
Okay, fine. You're coming here for temporary reasons. I don't want you even for temporary reasons. What about that? This is completely the state's interest, right? We are not over here for judging where it is justified on the part of those government above 60 to recruit to let the people above 60 in, right? It's completely on the basis of my interest. I should not do this because I don't want to do it, but I'm not sure if I'm not going to let them in again and again after this bill is passed. What if I don't want this after this bill is passed? What about that? What if I have sort of a conflict going on with one state, since it did not clarify with what state we're talking about? They're talking about it globally, right? So what if I have a problem with another state even after this bill is passed? What about that, right? What if I have a problem with those people of that very country, right? Because they did not specify which country we're talking about. We're talking about globally. So what if I have a problem with that? Then what? Then I have to decide if I'm going to let them in or not. But how do I decide? Through the process of visa, right? Because this is how the decision process works. Take that later, sir. Honorable Speaker, moving on my second constructive, which is because the bill is completely injustice. Right? I told you, number one, it is injustice because it's forcing it on the part of the government. The government does not want this. The state does not want this. They don't want to take them in. Then why would you make them take them in just because you want to show respect? Not taken, sir. And secondly, Honorable Speaker, there are many people in the country, there are many people in that specific state who deserve respect. Right? Just because you're 60, just because you're old, doesn't mean you deserve respect. There are many good citizens in that very state. So, just to show respect, why don't you let everyone of all ages, just to show respect, why don't you let everyone in, right? If you want to show respect, if this is such a big deal. And then again, Honorable Speaker, the second level of injustice that is being brought up is that, like I told you, that this is number one, injustice on the part of the country, if they want it or not. And number two, respect does not come from age, Honorable Speaker. Respect comes with that country from every point of view. Any person can be a good citizen at any age, Honorable Speaker. And how is that process going to go through? Through the process of visa, right? And you cannot just go and take 60 as an arbitrary age and decide to take them just because you want to show respect. This is no form of respect, Honorable Speaker. This is actually a flawed bit. And moving on to the third constructive, which is the arbitrariness of this age. Don't you think 59, a guy aged 59 is not old? Why 60? I mean, a guy aged 59 is not old. Just because you want old people, that's why you're choosing 60, right? Because old people does not really make a huge difference at the end of the day of the country. And finally, Honorable Speaker, feasibility. Like I told you, they cannot ensure the respect and anything because Honorable Speaker, they're proposing the status quo over and over again. There's already a process. What is visa for? Visa takes a process and then at the end, visa lets the people know if you're allowed into the country or not. They're doing it and then they're just excluding the word visa. That's what they're doing. Thanks, Honorable.
May I ask the second speaker from the proposition to present their constructive matter?
They talk about country's incentive. That is, what is there for a country to allow this particular people that is above 60 to actually give them visa. Now, Honorable Speaker, it's not about country's incentive here, Honorable Speaker, because at the end of the day, these people are not overcrowding the country or anything like that, because that's an assumption from that side. What we are saying is that we'll be allowing these people to go to wherever they want, but the decision of whether it will be an immigration visa, whether it will be a tourism visa, that completely depends on that very particular, Honorable Speaker, government to decide. So what we are saying, we will not be stopping them from going to one country from another, but the fact that it will be for permanent residents, we are not saying that we will be giving them green cards. We are not saying them that they will be citizens forever, Honorable Speaker. Moreover, Honorable Speaker, if that very particular citizen is an immigrant, that particular citizen do have to pay for the resources, do have to pay for all the facilities that that particular person is earning in that country. So at the end of the day, we see that country earning revenue through those very investment that person does. So Honorable Speaker, the whole point that they talk about of that country is going to fall is not right, because they simply talk about the point that I have the right to decide that yes, I do not want you to enter my country or whatnot. But at the end of the day, we see benefits are being there. Honorable Speaker, why is tourism sector a different sector considered? Because there are lots of GDP inflow from this very tourism sector. So what happens is at the end of the day, Honorable Speaker, when we allow this won't actually negatively affect the country, because face it, why is
why has USA opened its visa now? Because USA is in a crisis and they need investment from foreign countries. So that is why they have opened their visa so that people can go in and actually invest there. So never is the point of countries falling in problem is a concern. So when that is not a concern, I don't know where the hell do they come up and talk about things like, look, I don't want you to enter my country, so I will not give you the permission. These kind of statements would not be made in the first place because there are no active harms in the situation. Moving on to the next part, moving on to the next point is the point of Honorable Speaker. Yes, old people. Why old people? Why not people in 59 or 59.95 or 59.98? Now, Honorable Speaker, what we are talking about here is a generalized perception that above 60 people are old. So we cannot argue why above 18 teenagers are considered adults. That's a redundant point to bring in. Also, what we are actually saying is why is it adults we are considering? Why not good citizens who are the working age? Because at the end of the day, Honorable Speaker, this will be more elaborate on a constructive, but to say it now, is that in different phases of life, you have different needs. In different phases of life, you prioritize different things. And Honorable Speaker, when these citizens are senior citizens, they need a life which is relaxing now, Honorable Speaker. And for that to facilitate it, for that to be accommodated, Honorable Speaker, we give them these privileges at the end. Because face it, we give them pensions, we give them lots of facilities that normal citizens do not, Honorable Speaker, enjoy. Why? Is it because those citizens has done crime? No, Honorable Speaker. Those citizens are good enough. Our kid, Honorable Speaker, a guy of 30-year-old who is good enough as a guy of 74-year-old. They might be the same as if you compare their personalities. But why do we give that 74-year-old certain privileges? Because it's according to the concept of at different phases of life, there are different things, Honorable Speaker, we respect with. Also, why do we respect, honestly, in a particular function, Honorable Speaker? We see the people who are senior gets a different set of respect, Honorable Speaker, from all cultures, Honorable Speaker. In all cultures, we set a different platform for them. Why? Because it's their age, Honorable Speaker. Age defines lots of things, Honorable Speaker. And that is why we, the proposition side, take that age factor, which is so vital in deciding whether a person is teenager, whether a person will be entered in a juvenile crime court or a normal criminal court. This age is a very important fact, and also we take that age into consideration and we put up a case of respect, Honorable Speaker, which these people deserve at this age. We, Honorable Speaker, we shall be more elaborating on my constructives. And Honorable Speaker, coming to the point of EU, Honorable Speaker, that I talked about, also EU was just an example. What we are saying is that we are enhancing international relations, global relations. A person will not just confine themselves to the countries of European nations, because European nations are the only attractive countries in the world. There are many other attractive spots or tourist spots or where these old people might want to go. So Honorable Speaker, that was just an example saying that what if, Honorable Speaker, we open this visa, the relations between them would be better. That was just an example saying that we are actually trying to enhance global relations between countries. So that taking that as the rebuttal is not very just, and the problems with serious, they say serious customer problems. However, this debate, Honorable Speaker, is not about problems such as people dying, problems such as people not eating, Honorable Speaker. This debate is about problems with morality, Honorable Speaker, problems with respect, problems with acknowledgement, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, status quo does not have problems with bloodshed in this very debate. The status quo does have a problem in knowing whom to recognize as someone respectful, Honorable Speaker. Recognition, Honorable Speaker. We are actually enhancing that, Honorable Speaker. And that being not proper, Honorable Speaker, that is what we are talking about. Now, moving on to my constructives is the point of after effects of passing these problems that these people go through. Now, firstly, ladies and gentlemen, as I told you that in different phases of life, people have different roles. For example, when a person is aged from the age of 25 to, for example, 40, 50 or 60, depending on country, that is their working age. That is when they spend most of the time doing work, earning for their family, and that is the most laborious time. And that job sectors usually target audiences of this age when they want to select someone for the jobs. Similarly, Honorable Speaker, we do not let people under the age of 18 to make decisions, to take vital decisions, because their rationale is not that high, Honorable Speaker. Right? So for different sets of age, we have different laws, Honorable Speaker. We do not allow as much freedom a 20, 30-year-old enjoys as a 15-year-old would enjoy. So don't we have different laws for them? Honorable Speaker, yes, we do. So Honorable Speaker, we believe at the end of the day, above 60 people, yes, they do already have different laws, but this one, Honorable Speaker, adds more value, Honorable Speaker. This one doesn't harm anything, Honorable Speaker. The opposition side never showed us any harm as to how allowing them would cause, Honorable Speaker. What we are showing you is an added privilege that these people have earned, these people deserve, Honorable Speaker. Because face it, that is one moment in life when they are done with their family responsibilities. That is one moment in life when they are done having a set family, Honorable Speaker. That is one moment in life they take a break from their normal life. That is one moment in life when they have to count the time of their death, Honorable Speaker. That is one moment in life they are highest at their respectful positions. That is one moment in life when they are going to be the last to represent them. So Honorable Speaker, at this very moment, we give them the privilege to, Honorable Speaker, explore the world, because if that's the best thing we can do, we are very proud of the people who build this nation, Honorable Speaker, of the people who build other nations, Honorable Speaker. Because we see at the end of the day, we, Honorable Speaker, these people deserve this respect, and we, Honorable Speaker, it's all about deserving an acknowledgement. This debate is. This debate, Honorable Speaker, needs to address that, Honorable Speaker. That is a necessity, whether the opposition side considers it or not. Honorable Speaker, also the point of international relations, what which you talked about, will be boosted. And Honorable Speaker, so to sum up, what you have showed you again and again through this debate is acknowledging is a very important tool, and through that human race has evolved, will evolve, and we need to do that. Thank you, Speaker. Thank you.
May I ask the second speaker from the opposition to present with their constructive case?
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, for giving me the floor. The topic that has been today raised by the Prime Minister of Opposition is this House believes that citizens above 60 should not require a visa, and I strongly stand against it. Now, I'll prove it today that the motion that has been raised by them is completely a flawed motion. Honourable Speaker, from the very beginning of this debate, my proposition team, the first speaker and second speaker, both of them have been said that whether he is a the good people of one country up to the age of 60, those who have not any past criminal records, they will not be given visa by another country where they want to visit. But Honourable Speaker, don't you think that whether the person who is interested to go to another country for visiting, if you want to detect that yeah, he is good or not, he has no personal records, you have to go through a process. The country who will where they will visit will go through a process, and that process we are saying that, and it's visa through which the country can recognize that yeah, he's a good person, he can come to my country. Not taken, sir. Then they have said that tourism need to be improved through it. So, Honourable Speaker, if tourism need to be improved, then why they are not making this no visa for all the people of the country? I have a question there, that they have only mentioned the age 60, and they have also said that the first speaker, Honourable First Speaker, has said that above 60 people, they will not only require visa, and because they may have some problems, while getting visa from there. But Honourable Speaker, don't you think that only the age of 60 is not the old age of a person? The people less than the age of 60, like 59, 58 or above, less than 50, they may also have got problems. So why we are not making this bill like why we are mentioning the age 60 here? We should not do so. And the second speaker has said that one moment of going to another country is only above the age of 60. But Honourable Speaker, so if it's the one moment to go to another country, so what's the problem with visa? By taking visa, they can go to that country. We are not telling that yeah, above 60 people cannot go. Yeah, you people go, but not even, sir, I'll tell you later. They have said that only the can go because this is the only one moment of the life when they will go to other countries. But honorable speaker, if they take visa, they require visa and then they go, that can also be correct because in this moment of age they will require visa and they will go to another country. Honorable speaker, they have also said that. Yeah.
So, actually the concept of visa, it has a lot of complicated procedures that a person has to go through and he has to pay a lot of money for it, which is not actually a necessity. What I'm going to say.
You were saying about money, and do you think that the people who are above the age 60, they don't have money, so that they will face problems in visa for that? They have also said, honorable speaker, the second speaker has also said that no money, there is a problem regarding no money. Then honorable speaker, okay, you are not wasting them, not taken. If you have problems regarding money, then how you will buy the tickets of the plane? How we will spend the money after visiting that country? How we will visit the other countries if you don't take have the problems of money not taken? The first speaker has said that visa is like an admit or entrance card, but they are providing no visa because they are considering providing no visa as a respect or an honor to the people of another country. But honorable speaker, do you think that through this only the good relationship among the countries can develop, because the country where they will visit is not liable to any of the person, that they have to give visas to those persons who are only above the age of 60. And honorable speaker, not taken above 60, they have mentioned that above 60 people who have no past criminal records, how can they assure that after above the age of 60 they will have no criminal records? People can do criminal activities, they can do illegal activities also after the age of 60. So why we will tell them to not taken, sir? So why we will only let them to go to other countries without visa? If we do so, we can give all the people of the country to go to other countries for visiting without visa. Then honorable speaker, they have also mentioned that there are people under 60, they have mentioned that people may above the age of 60, not taken, sir, people above the age of 60 maybe they may have faced problems because the process of visa is long. But honorable speaker, under the age of 60, those people are there, they may have also faced problems while they have to take visas for visiting other countries. So why only we are mentioning the age of 60, not taken, sir? Then now my first speaker has said that I'm going to describe the third constructive, which is advantages for the terrorists. If we pass this bill, there will be a great advantage for the terrorists will get a great advantage, because by traveling to more and more countries without visa, they will send their agents. They will choose that, not taken, sir. They will choose the agents who are above the age of 60 for traveling to other countries. As a result, they will spread more their ideological beliefs. By sending their agents, they will spread more their messages to other countries, and in this way they will spread illegal stuffs among other countries, and it will hinder the normal condition of the country. So it will be easily accessible for them to travel to other countries, and the terrorists will get the opportunity to spread their illegal stuffs to other countries. As a result, it will be an advantage for the terrorists, but it will be a great problem for the country where they are visiting. So here I will mention that it's easy to motivate 60 years people than easily than 40 years, because at that age people it decreases their rationality level, so easily they can motivate a person of 60 years, and in this way terrorist groups like Al-Qaeda, they will send their agents in the whole world by not taking visa, and in this way they will spread illegal stuff, and it will cause harm to not only that country which they are visiting, it will cause harm to the whole world, simultaneously. And in this way, this bill is creating many problems while we are passing this bill. Yes, sir. Your
Ma'am, you talked about the point of old people getting project. They told out they have no criminal record, so the fact of you talking about the exporting stuff is not valid.
Okay, so they are saying that the past records only. I have mentioned in my first speech that the people who are above the age of 60 may have criminal records. After being the age of 60, the terrorist group will influence them to do more and more criminal activities, and in this way it will harm. So on the speaker here.
VOA is the last meeting.
Alright, now can I ask the third speaker from
Here.
the competition to the university with speech?
All losses are against Mr. Speaker. You know what? Al Qaeda and those big terrorist organizations, they will be choosing those people who are aged above 60. Those people who has been a good citizen to the country. They will be choosing those citizens, particularly those citizens, and use them to spread their ideological beliefs and expand terrorism activities. You know what? The CGS doesn't exist in the status quo to actually act in this particular terrorism. You know what? After 60, after these people are being aged 60, they might go in there and do criminal activities, and that actually, you know what, they should not be respected because they are doing criminal activities after 60. If they do criminal activities after 60, they have to be handled and punished. That's simple, that shouldn't be debated upon. So ladies and gentlemen, their concept about ideological beliefs was redundant. Their concept about those particular individuals going up there and spreading Al-Qaeda's reflex and spreading those reflex, ladies and gentlemen, that was redundant concept being brought up by the proposition side. Before the rebuttal, ladies and gentlemen, let's see what this debate was concerned about. Well, the first point of contention: do these individuals, do they deserve a recognition? And in this particular case, we're talking about visa. Do they deserve it? Secondly, ladies and gentlemen, does this harm the country's interests that are being concerned in today's world? Before that, ladies and gentlemen, there have been questioned as why is it 60? Repeatedly, ladies and gentlemen. The second speaker has clearly come on today's debate, and he has clearly shown you about the maturity level a person achieves by 60, what he has done by the time he's 60, and the respect he deserves by the time he's 60. So that's clear on today's house, ladies and gentlemen. Why does these individuals deserve a huge amount, added amount of respect, ladies and gentlemen? That's clear on today's debate. And as far as an accusation was being concerned, that has been done. So ladies and gentlemen, the first point of contention: does this individual deserve recognition? They said that just because these individuals are old does not give them an added respect. Ladies and gentlemen, in hotels of Singapore, we learned that in hotels, they are being given a certain amount of money, they have to pay less, ladies and gentlemen. Now, what is that? That's an honorary, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't actually mean that those individuals cannot pay the money, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't actually mean, like she said, you cannot pay for the visa. At the end of the day, it's not about that. It's about an honorary, ladies and gentlemen. The government also provides many added respect when it comes to hospitals, ladies and gentlemen. In medical centers, they are being given preference, ladies and gentlemen. And why is that? Even in public transport, ladies and gentlemen, those particular individuals are given preference. It's an honorary, ladies and gentlemen. If those individual is healthy and fit, even after 60, a special place is booked for him on a bus, ladies and gentlemen. That doesn't necessarily undermine the whole concept of him turning into a 60, ladies and gentlemen. So our concept is pretty clear. Do they deserve recognition of respect, ladies and gentlemen? These particular individuals throughout the world, we are talking about today a global recognition, ladies and gentlemen. these particular individuals have served throughout their lifetimes. They haven't committed criminal atrocities at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen. These people have been a good citizen at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen. These particular individuals have served their country for a long amount of time from the time their employment age starts, ladies and gentlemen. We do understand that these particular individuals at the end of the day has done a lot of things for their country. And ladies and gentlemen, when they come to a certain age of 60, as been said by the second speaker, ladies and gentlemen, and when they come to a certain age, it's about time we give them something back. Ladies and gentlemen, after a person is 60, he's no longer employed. He has to go through a lot of hassles at the end of the day. In developed countries, ladies and gentlemen, we see that those children at the end of the day are not taking the burden of their parents after their 60, ladies and gentlemen. That is the way the society actually functions. This old generation requires an added assistance from the government, ladies and gentlemen. And in this form of visa, what is it that we are facilitating, ladies and gentlemen? We are making their life hassle-free. That's an honorary. We are ensuring that these individuals goes into other countries in a much hassle-less way, ladies and gentlemen. It's not only about the money that visa is concerned, ladies and gentlemen. He has to go through a lot of procedures, complicated procedures that these particular individuals has to go through. He has to talk about his, as long as going to other countries, the United States. We have also, you have to show about your other audits, like that big bank, so the amount of money you have, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of procedures are being involved, with the proposition side is unaware of today's house, ladies and gentlemen. We believe that those individuals do not deserve to go through those procedures at the end of the day because they have been a good person throughout their life, ladies and gentlemen. And these particular individuals do not need to go through these added hassles. So as far as the deserving recognition, deserving respect, and this particular is a form of visa is concerned, we have clearly shown through examples that how they already receive a lot of recognition. Let that be in the form of pensions, let that be in the form of health insurances, let that be in the form of hotels giving them a lesser amount of money, as it happens in Singapore, ladies and gentlemen. That's an only added honorary, and it has no harm. The proposition side failed to identify any harms in this. Well, harms came in the second point of contention. Will this harm the countries concerned, ladies and gentlemen? You know what? They have talked about these particular people going into other countries and settling as immigrants. Ladies and gentlemen, what you're talking about is not a refugee camp, ladies and gentlemen, for God's sake. These particular individuals going to other country for a particular period of time. United States is not giving them green card, they're giving them visa. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a difference in that. What we have to understand on today's house is that these particular individuals are going into other countries as an honorary of what they have done throughout their lifetime, ladies and gentlemen. That doesn't mean they have to discover a new element to deserve recognition, ladies and gentlemen. And those particular individual is being concerned in the status, we provide them for the sake of being good citizens, and we believe that is good enough to provide them an added recognition. And that is what the propositions have been came up and explained on today's hour, ladies and gentlemen. They come up and talk about the burden our country has to face. What burden are you talking about, ladies and gentlemen? Never been said by the propositions on today's house. They come up and talked about conflicting nations, ladies and gentlemen. What we have to understand is that is a different scenario, ladies and gentlemen. If one country does not recognize another country, and if they have other conflicts, that's a different issue, that's a different debate. Today we are talking from a principal perception about today's motion, ladies and gentlemen. This debate is about those particular individuals. This debate is about the rights of those particular individuals. This debate is about whether they deserve the honor in these particular individuals are being given, ladies and gentlemen. And about these particular countries, as being said by the first speaker of today's house, how it actually works in the European Union, ladies and gentlemen. It's not only about being a trading bloc, ladies and gentlemen. It's not only about having common policies. It's also about respect and goodwill, ladies and gentlemen. How does this improve international relations? That's evident. You are actually respecting individuals throughout the whole world, those particular individuals, irrespective of race, irrespective of religion, irrespective of where you are from, we do not care. You are a person who is 60, you are a person who has done something good for the country, you are a person who has been a good citizen, and each and every individual of this whole earth, when they are being a good citizen, when they are being awarded, ladies and gentlemen, the international community is helped. That's evident, ladies and gentlemen, on today's house. So what was this debate actually about? From the very first place, the Prime Minister came up and said today's debate about honoring those particular individuals. He has clearly shown you the problems those particular individuals face through their lifetime. Then they have come up and talked about why is it actually 60? And they have come up and talked about about the visa procedure already been going through. Ladies and gentlemen, they have been actually in a hassling situation, going from one point to the another, never concentrating on anyone, ladies and gentlemen. At the end of the day, the redundant ideologies, spreading of ideologies on today's health has been brought forward on the opposition side doesn't count. This debate is about helping those individuals. This debate is about respecting these individuals, ladies and gentlemen. And we believe these people should be respected by the passing of this motion. Thank you, sir.
8 minutes, 17 seconds.
Can I ask the third speaker from the opposition to complete today's constructive round? Here.
Honorable Speaker, the proposition team today has completely undermined the present process of visa. They are saying that provide visa to people above the age of 60 who haven't committed crimes, who haven't done anything bad, and who are supposedly good people. But what is the present process of visa? It is determining that the person hasn't done anything bad, that the person is not going to do anything bad, that the person is eligible for going to the country he wants to go. So why do you just remove the word visa from here and then still keep the policy intact? You're making sure he's a good person. Visa is doing exactly the same thing. Why do you need to remove the remove the process of visa? In fact, you're undermining the process of allowing person to enter a country. You're undervaluing the notion of giving a permission from the part of the country. You're not caring what that country wants. You're completely disrespecting that country in the name of respecting all people of your country. Now let me flag post the flashpoints of the debates today. Firstly, international relationships versus the interest of the countries not taken. Secondly, whether extra respect is worth all the bad effects of the bill. Thirdly, whether this be whether taking visa from all people is disrespecting them. And fourthly, whether it helps terrorists or not. And lastly, whether visa is a barrier for these people visiting another country.
Clarification, ma'am.
Not taken. Moving on to my first class point, international relationships versus the country's interest. You're saying that your policy won't harm any country's interest at all. You haven't specified, first of all, you haven't specified any country. You haven't told that poor countries are not a part of this policy. So, we all know, of course, a very poor country won't want random strangers moving on to their country because they're own. A very poor country can accommodate new people. There are specified reasons why countries don't give visa. They don't want people and they have reasons for that. They just don't allow them because they disrespect them. They have their own reasons, not taken. Every country has its own rules and it has reasons behind it. And so not giving visa definitely has specific reasons and they're completely undermining those reasons. On the second hand, citizens are a responsibility of their own country. Their own country have to show respect to them. They can't just show their respect by sending them to other countries. They have policies in their own countries in order to do that. They have pensions. They have extra benefits for old people. Why do you need another policy by harming another country in some cases for showing them some respect? So what we see is the country, a lot of countries' interests will be harmed by not listening to what they want, by directly giving visa to people of your country just to show respect to them. You're indirectly disrespecting other countries' needs. And on the second hand, international relationships are not secured in a very strong way. There are other ways to secure international relationships. Visa is not a really effective way to do that. It might not do that at all. You have so many ways to do that. Why just take away visa from all people? If you could take away visa from all people, it could have been a more effective way. Yes, sir.
The reason behind why we're proposing this, for example, a 60-year-old guy wants to go to the United States of America for a detailed health checkup and he was denied visa of that. Now, doesn't he have the right to go for a detailed checkup? He was denied visa, so he cannot go to the United States of America. What do you have to say about that?
The United States of America wouldn't have denied if there wasn't a reason behind it. If the person hadn't been a bad person or hadn't had any reason to been a threat to that country, US wouldn't have denied it. And there are options, alternatives everywhere. Since this is a global house, he can go to another country. If US is denied, he can go to Singapore, he can go to Europe, any European country, not taken. So your question is really invalid. My second flashpoint is whether this extra respect you're intending to show is worth all the bad effects my first and second speakers inclined to. First of all, I'll explain this on 3 levels. First of all, you're doing injustice to the countries you're visiting. These countries have rights. These countries have a right of knowing what happens to them and a right of intervening in that process. Not taken, sir. They have a right of intervening who comes to their country and right of actually play. They have a role in who enters their country and not. So you're doing injustice to the countries where the persons are visiting because of your own interest, because of the interest of your own people. On the second level, you are in the name of respecting your own citizens, you're disrespecting these countries, and that cannot be accepted at all. You yourselves talk about international relations, and how will you ensure international relations by disrespecting some other countries in some way? What if they feel like you're undermining their own opinions? What if they feel like you're not taking care of what they want? So you're actually disrespecting, and this goes against your own policy, which is ensuring global friendship and stuff. And on the third level, how do you know that an old person obviously deserves respect, a younger person deserves respect, and the age of 60 is completely arbitrary here. So the thing is, when a person gets visa, he knows that he deserves that respect. He knows that there is nothing wrong with him. He deserves to go there, and therefore he got a visa. This thing called visa actually shows that respect to them. It doesn't take away their respect. It shows them that they have nothing wrong. They're eligible to go where they want to go. And through the process of visa, you know that the person deserves respect. You show that respect to the person, and you do that not through an arbitrary process. You do that in the right way, not taking that. Now, my third class point is whether the arbitrariness of the age is justified or not. First of all, the age of 60 is not necessary for establishing good relations. Since one of your most important standpoints was establishing good relations, and then you define that your age limit is 60, it doesn't really connect. You see, good relations can be established by allowing all people there. It can be established by allowing important people or just business people or free travelers. But the age of 60 is completely arbitrary here. Allowing old people doesn't ensure you have a good relation with that country. On the second hand, it actually helps some bad effects go on to the country, which brings me to my fifth point, my fourth point, not taken, sir, which is whether it helps terrorists or not. Yes, sir.
Let's come to a primary level. If someone from a particular family invites an older citizen from a family, you take that as a respect.
Of course we do. If a person has a family in a country, it's much easier for him to get a visa, and if he hasn't done anything wrong, he will get a visa. There is no reason for the country to deny a visa as long as the person is right. Nothing. You're asking too many questions. My fourth question is whether it helps terrorists or not. This also has 3 grounds. Firstly, the third speaker and second speaker said, the third speaker said the terrorists, why would the terrorists choose people over 60? Terrorists don't choose people over 60. How can you just come and say that? Terrorists will choose these people specifically because of this bill. They'll take advantage of this bill and they'll now recruit all agents over the age of 60. They'll wait till their agents are 60 and then they'll use their whole good profile to send them to other countries. They'll use them as a benefit. This bill is actually helping the terrorists in some ways. On the second ground, these people might have any criminal records in their whole lives. That doesn't mean they can commit any wrong in their future life. Especially when we're talking about terrorist groups, they don't really know that they're doing a wrong thing. They look at it as a good thing. And on the third level, agents must spend their whole life just as good people, only to go to other countries for some aim they have been hiding inside their mind for all their life. So it might be a trap. My last class point is whether the visa is a barrier to these people. First of all, they said money or difficulties really gives a barrier to the old people. Actually, a visa usually doesn't have any money. Even if it has, it's very insignificant, and these people will have tickets and other costs. So the money or difficulties of visa don't really stand, and the process of visa is not that complicated at all. Secondly, we will allow them to go. We're not saying old people cannot go. They just need visa, and this visa is not really that hard to get as long as you're a good person. And so you're undermining visa, and you're doing that arbitrarily. On the third level, why is the process of visa long? Because it ensures that the person is a good person, there's nothing wrong and therefore the process of visa ensures that everything is alright. Thank you, sir. We are done.
Fair. 9 minutes. 9 minutes. 9 minutes. 9 minutes. Recording that also go. I could join. Record on So with that speech, we essentially draw a conclusion to the constructive part of this debate. However, we still need to go through the reply speeches, and for that, I guess we're already fixed up with the reply speeches. I guess we are going to start with the opposition first. May I ask the first speaker from the opposition to present our reply?
4 minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor again. So basically, what the proposition side is proposing is that they're trying to imply that in the status quo, having the word visa is not showing respect. But proposing this bill is actually the same policy, right? They're actually proposing the same policy. We're going to ensure that they're good people, which is the present status quo, right? What they're suggesting is that the status quo has the word visa, which is not respect. But we're simply removing the word visa, which is going to show respect, right? This is what the proposition side is necessarily suggesting. Because, Honorable Speaker, at the end of the day, the debate comes down to this, right? What was their aim in proposing this bill in the first place? To show respect. Honorable Speaker, respect does not come from permission or not permission. This is a completely different issue. Permission is a completely critical issue and crucial issue where you cannot deal with respect, Honorable Speaker. Respect can be given from different forms, right? If you really want to give respect to old people, why don't you increase their facilities in the other state, right? You're not in this way. You're not forcing upon the other countries, right? This is a bill which is forcing upon the other countries. If the other countries want to show respect to the old people of the other countries, right? They can increase the facilities to those old people of other countries. Honorable Speaker, they have compared pensions with this bill. That does not really stand because pensions are given by the government of the same country, by the government to the people of their own country because they have a responsibility towards the old people of their own country. But the state do not have a responsibility towards the old people of the other countries, right? So they're not liable to the people of the other countries, to the old people of the other countries, Honorable Speaker. Now the proposition side may come up and say that no, it is going to ensure international relations, Honorable Speaker. But we have shown you, no, it is not going to ensure international relations. This is not an ideal bill to promote international relations in a good manner. Why? Because at the very core of this bill, you're undermining the opinion of the other state. At the core of this bill, you're saying that your permission does not matter to me. I'll send my person of more than age 60, even if you do not permit him, or even if you do permit him. So I'm going to send you. This is actually the core of the problem that is given by this proposition side, right? Again, Honorable Speaker, they have come up and said, what if that person does not have enough money to go through the process of visa? Then definitely that person does not have enough money to go through the process of the tickets, to buy the tickets, Honorable Speaker. This is a very completely vague point that was brought from the first speaker of the government. Again, the third speaker comes up and says, what if the person was going for a health checkup? You see, what if a person above 60 years old is in a dire situation, he's almost dying, right? In that case, he needs a companion. He needs a person who, for example, is under the age of 60. In that case, what if the other companion under the age of 60 is denied of visa just because he's under the age of 60? You're not allowing his companions, right? You're just allowing him, right? So this is going to take another long process. This is a guarantee that we can give you. Sick people need companions to go to other countries. And these other companions we're not ensuring their visa, we're only ensuring visa of those people who are above the age of 60. So even if they're sick, Honorable Speaker, this bill is not justified because there might be people sick even under the age of 60. What about them, right? That is where we come the arbitrariness of this bill, right? Under the age of 60, people deserve respect also. Not only above the age of 60, Honorable Speaker. Again, this bill is actually not feasible at the end of the day because you see, the court has a problem itself. You're not giving them the permission. You're not just giving them one word, right? That is what your entire debate is about. The entire debate is about we're going through the same process, but we're just not going to give them permission. They have gone on and on saying that no, we're going to ensure that these people do not have any criminal records, that these people are good citizens. How are you going to ensure that? Through the process of visa, right? Through the process of visa, you're going to ensure that. Because after that process of assurance that these people are good, then why don't you give them visa after that? Why don't you give them the permission? Yes, you're good people. We permit you, right? That is the present process. What they're doing is they're going to the process of visa and just removing the word of visa. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Now, may I ask anyone from the first two speakers of the proposition to conclude this debate?
Ladies and gentlemen, they talk about what if people are single, they might need companions. Now we not debate on exceptions, we debate on generalizations, Honorable Speaker. We believe if a person is sick, he would not actually go in outside country for tourism at that very moment, right? He have other periods when he is not sick to actually go to other countries. That is a redundant point. This side on the House Honorable Speaker comes up with lots of assumptions, what if, and what if. Whereas we've shown you with reasons how we clearly take this debate. Honorable Speaker, we say that what is right is what we do it and what is wrong is what we don't do. Honorable Speaker, just because something wrong exists out there doesn't justify the fact that we can continue something wrong. Similarly, like if there is something right going on, Honorable Speaker, doesn't necessarily mean we can stop promoting a new right, Honorable Speaker. Now, why do I say that? Because they come up in the reply speech and talk about how we can enhance facilities of these old people inside countries. Why do we need to give them this extra privilege? We again and again through the debate have established how this one privilege is what they deserve, Honorable Speaker. Is this respect is what they deserve. Throughout the three speeches, you probably know that. Now, Honorable Speaker, this is something right, Honorable Speaker. So we cannot just undermine one right because there is another right that we can actually give. Because this is something different and this is something justified separately, Honorable Speaker. They talked about the facilities inside countries. That is, why don't we enhance their facilities? Also, those facilities already exist. They already get pensions. They already get, Honorable Speaker, as you talk, in hotels, they get more discounts, Honorable Speaker. They already get those facilities, Honorable Speaker. And it is high time we also acknowledge another right that they deserve, Honorable Speaker. Just because some rights can be enhanced doesn't mean this one right which we can promote has to be stopped. Because that is redundant in the first place. Because face it, just because corruption is there, we do not stop from developing, right? So similarly like that, we should not stop dreaming. So Honorable Speaker, moreover, the only point that they had was the point of decision, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, what is there to decide when you don't have to decide at all? We have again and again shown you how at the end of the day, Honorable Speaker, there is no active harm of these old people coming in. Honorable Speaker, they didn't show us any active harm, for God's sake. We showed you how there is benefits, how there would be investments, how there would be more people, tourism, revenue, Honorable Speaker, generated. We only showed you benefits, and when there is no active harm in the first place, what do you have to decide on? That's my question. Honorable Speaker, why is the right of decision given so that you can actually pick the right solution? But when honestly we see people getting visas, old people already, when we see the right decision is not in not taking them, but rather to take them, rather to give them respect, also there is nothing to decide there, Honorable Speaker. Moreover, Honorable Speaker, we talked about the point of visa being a big issue, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, they talked about we are not changing the status quo, we are just changing the name. Also, that's not the case. Because face it, at the end of the day, visa has lots of complications, Honorable Speaker. Visa has lots of complications other than the security check. So, Honorable Speaker, we are actually freeing these people of all those complications given that these people are not affiliated with any criminal records. Also, Honorable Speaker, they talked about the point of terrorism. Honorable Speaker, I do not see how 60-year people who doesn't have any criminal record would be influenced by a terrorist in one day, Honorable Speaker. That's just changing his 60 years of morals, Honorable Speaker, which is completely redundant assumption, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, so at the end of the day, to sum up what we have shown you, Honorable Speaker, we have shown you how at different points of age, we have these different respects, and these old people deserve this respect. We talked about the responsibility of government, we talked about international relations, and we linked all these three and have a high moral ground today for these senior citizens who have served their purpose in life, and Honorable Speaker deserve this extra added respect, Honorable Speaker, and that is what we Team ESS today advocate, Honorable Speaker, and we will not see how we lose with that. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.